Conversations with Dr. Brenda. Mondays at 10 a.m. Informative, insightful, inspiring, and fun. On this episode of Conversations with Dr. Brenda, a conversation with Marva Thomas. Now here's Dr. Brenda.
Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Brenda Goudeaux. I am such a blessed woman of God to meet so many great people over the years in my life, and today is no exception. I get to spend time and have a conversation with someone who's very dear to me, who God brought. I know it was God who brought her in my life, and her life is very interesting, and I'm very pleased to introduce to you and present to others Miss Pamela Shaw-Buffin. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Pam. We could have talked about how you exactly want to introduce you, but you are a blessing to so many, and just so grateful that God brought you our way. I think it was like 09 or something online. Something
been
like
almost 9 years. Yes,
that.
ma'am. A huge blessing to have been brought to the church and to have you guys in my life and in the life of my family. It has certainly changed our lives. So,
all
so
right. Well, that's what God does, and
yes,
He brings us together. Together, we help change lives, and I'm so grateful for what He's done. And we always like to start our conversations, and I want you to take your time, just relax. We're just having a conversation. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got to where you are. So I say a little bit, but take your time. Tell us, go back where you were born, a little bit, all about.
Okay, all the good stuff.
Yes.
I was blessed to have been born and raised in Hawaii. My father was in the Air Force and was actually right during the height of the Vietnam War. He got stationed there. He was stationed there at Hickam, and I was fortunate enough to be born there. And my family's from Chicago, so they, after the Vietnam War, my parents moved back to the island, from the islands to the mainland, and went back to Chicago. So I spent the younger part of my years in Chicago, growing up there, and all of my family's there. Both sides of my family are also rooted in Chicago. So that was my upbringing. And right about the middle school time, maybe I was about 9 or 10, my parents divorced, and but kept a good friendship and decided that Hawaii was the better place to raise me. That was where they wanted to have my life have influence. So we moved back, my mom and I, and moved back there, and I was able to grow up there, finish high school, go to college, and eventually get through with school, and came here to the Bay Area, came to California, and moved to the Bay Area. And so at that point, my mom had lived in the southern part of the Bay Area and was working in Silicon Valley, and was a part of that movement in the early 90s. And and I got out of college and wanted to do something special. So she said, "You need to come to the mainland for a year." And so if you don't like it, you could go back to the island, but you need to come. And so I did. And I'm actually really glad that I did. I look back on my life now, and the mainland, was just so beautiful. There was so much going on here when I moved here. And so I didn't want to leave. And literally got a great job in the financial world, and was captivated by that. I always loved numbers. I'd always been part of that, and wanted very much to work in the business industry. And so I got very lucky. I shouldn't say lucky, I should say blessed.
Yeah.
I was very blessed. Although, you learn as you get older that God
Yes,
intervenes in everything. It takes a minute to understand that, but he was always just making the way for me. So
Mhm.
fortunately, I got a great job with the Federal Home Loan Bank in San Francisco, and
Okay.
there was my introduction
Mhm.
into real financial analysis and management, and uh, found that I really loved the work. I loved being able to bring the numbers together and being able to explain that to people.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think that's kind of where my business was born. Actually, uh,
Wow. Okay.
today is my anniversary. You were asking earlier about what is the
Yeah,
significance.
the landmark or what? Yeah.
Well, I started my business 30 years ago today. And so
Oh,
it was just God's will that I'm
30
having the
years.
blessing to be able
Wow.
to sit here and talk with you today because I know you didn't know.
No.
And so it was just a it's
Mm,
been a full circle moment for me just in understanding how far I've come because uh, back then I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I just knew that I loved what I was doing and I didn't feel like I was doing enough. I felt like I could do more on my own. I felt like I could give a better service to people and so I started this business because I wanted to be able to assist uh, small businesses out there. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to help them understand their numbers. I wanted to educate. I didn't want to just do the work, but I wanted to be a vessel upon which they could gain understanding
mhm,
of their businesses and be able to forecast and thereby plan and
mhm,
keep their businesses running. And so it's been a joyous journey since then, one that has taken me in directions that I've never expected.
mhm,
Uh, Exposure to industries,
mhm,
beautiful experiences. The people that I've met have just been absolutely incredible all over the world, literally. Uh,
mhm.
uh, the network that I've been able to build. It's just been a phenomenal 30 years
Yeah.
but getting started with something else. I mean, I just remember I didn't know what I was
Mhm,
fully doing back then. I just knew that I was doing something to
mhm,
impact in a positive way businesses.
mhm.
And so
So you were at the bank, and
mhm.
then from there, you're learning. So the schooling was schooling in line with this, or you
Well,
just?
I had a boss that I wound up working for
Mhm,
that wanted me to he wanted me to get direct training with a company so that I could learn directly how to utilize accounting software systems, and that was where I got exposed to Intuit.
okay.
My mom had originally exposed me to it in college, and
Mhm,
I didn't really like it, wasn't really interested in it, and had no real desire to
mhm,
utilize that as part of my business growth. so,
mhm,
so when my business started, it was really I was doing more brochures and publications, and I helped a lady edit a book. I was doing all kind of other things to help businesses, but not necessarily doing finance. And I
mhm,
finally got a client that actually asked me if I would do that,
mhm,
and I said, oh, I don't want to do that. And he said, well, I'll send you the training. And
mhm.
so I went ahead and decided to go ahead and do the training. And I did that through Intuit. And that was where I got exposed to QuickBooks again and
Okay.
realized that that was my future. So, but when I started my business, I was still working. I still had a job, and so the business was kind of this side gig that I did
Mhm.
for several years, for probably about 7 years before I really went full swing.
Okay.
That was after 9/11. Uh,
Oh,
I, uh, I think a lot of people's lives were changed
oh yeah.
during that point,
Mhm,
and I felt the need to swing out on my own at that point. And
mhm,
I had good support behind me. My prior boss and my husband at the time, everyone kind of saw that I could do it. I could get
mhm,
out there and do it on my own. And so I said goodbye to the financial district, and I
mhm,
came home and said, this is what I'm going to do.
mhm,
And I even tried a couple of other things. I was a real estate agent for about 8 years.
okay.
Tried that for a little while, and
Mhm,
but I found that I always came back to the finance and the
mhm,
accounting and the bookkeeping. That I came back to that because it was constant, it was consistent, you're
Mhm.
paying taxes every year, things like that. I understood that. So
Mhm.
I wanted the consistency more than the ebbs and flows of the economy,
Right.
which the real estate industry is subject to. And so I wanted more of the stability of steady money and knowing that every year you're going to pay taxes, every year you're going to have to do certain things for the government.
Mhm.
The bookkeeping just seemed to be the viable option.
Mhm.
So I went in that direction and I just let God kind of take me
Yeah.
and do his will with me with this. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Now, I know your wonderful mom, Madeline, and
wonderful mother. Yeah.
yes, we all have these things,
My mom is great.
right?
She has.
Oh my goodness.
I'm her only child, and she reminds me of that on a consistent basis. She's been
Well,
a rock for me, though. I will
she got to
say.
be so proud of you. I
I
mean,
I I I hope so. I
no
have.
doubt about it. You hope so. Yes. I mean, because she's got some bookkeeping background as well, right?
She does. She actually worked for law firms for several years doing bookkeeping. And when I was in college, she wanted to. She worked with Peachtree, which was a real old program that it's old now, but back then it was really popular.
Mm-hmm.
And QuickBooks had been thrown out there as kind of this viable option as an alternative. And she didn't want to learn the program, so she gave it to me. And so that was how I got exposed to it originally. But she was the accounting person and she loved the numbers. And it's interesting because she wound up, as I moved into the accounting world, she moved more into the tech world. And so she was a part of the growth of the tech industry, Dell and Sun Microsystems and all these
Really?
fantastic businesses in Silicon Valley. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was so impressive to just see her transition and to work in a environment which was male dominated, right? So it was powerful to watch her all my years of my life do the trailblazing and telling me I could be anything that I wanted to be, believing that, knowing that anything I put my mind to, that I could achieve it. I mean, she's behind all of that. So uh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so grateful that I have such a strong mother who uh,
Mm-hmm.
always, believed that I could do anything. Yeah,
Wow.
with joy. With
Yeah, yeah. And just guess last year before, your grandmother she made 100, right? Before she
102.
102. So
Yeah,
again,
I was on a bit of a mission. I told her, I said, "You're going to make it to 110. Don't worry." When she's 100, I said, you're going to do another 10 years. No big deal, right? My grandmother was also an incredible inspiration, as well as my great grandmother, who I also was blessed to have in my life, and just
wow.
incredible
Mhm,
women, trailblazers. And
mhm,
as I had the pleasure of being able to go back through my history as well and trace my history and
mhm,
learn a lot about my ancestors and just an incredible line of women
mhm.
who are out there and who did it.
What
Yeah,
a blessing. That a
huge
blessing.
blessing. Yes, huge blessings.
So that is how you made out a good stock. You made a good stock. And I just
Amen.
remember when I first met you, I think one of your uh, slogans was, specialize in fixing messes or something on
Cleaning up messes, exactly. I'm the
site.
cleanup woman. That
Ah,
was the mop and Pam's P mop.
that mom.
One of my girlfriends designed that, and it's funny because my uh, my husband and I were talking about today being this 30-year milestone. We were speaking
Mhm,
about it earlier
mhm,
today, and
mhm,
he asked me if I remembered how I got my name, and I said, I will never forget how I got my name. He was a huge part of that,
okay.
developing the name of my business. And he said, well, you do perform miracles. One of my clients said something like, you're a miracle worker. And I was like, oh, thank you. And he said, well, you do. You perform miracles. That's what you do.
Wow.
And Pam's Miracles on Paper was generated from that conversation. And so we were acknowledging that today as just such a milestone in all the little things that helped the
Good.
business become what it is today.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Money is huge in businesses. I mean, it's like
It
the
is.
blood, so to have somebody that understands it and loves fixing things, making it work, cleaning up whatever's not right. I mean,
That's right. That's the
and
fun
so
part.
it's like, every different people have their different gifts. Different people have
I
their
agree
different
with you. And, one of the things that it's even more important to me is putting uh, the minds of my clients at ease.
yeah, it's
They
huge.
Because some things keep them up at night.
Mm-hmm.
A letter they got from the IRS, or
Mm-hmm.
an audit, from
Mm-hmm.
their workman's comp people, or
Mm-hmm.
something that they don't understand. Sales tax letter, you didn't pay your sales tax for a year. Those kind of things. Sometimes people are so focused on running their businesses, and they have an incredible gift or an incredible product that they want to sell. And, kudos to them. They can sell that product, they can sell that service and do it, A plus 100%. But understanding the other tools that it takes to run a business successfully, uh, they don't necessarily have that gift. And so that's where I come in. I like to fill that plug, so to speak, and to be able to allow them to focus on what they're good at, and
Mm-hmm.
allow me to focus on the rest and make sure that those numbers are right for them, and that they can answer things with integrity. Those are the things that matter to me. And yes, allowing my clients to be at peace,
Right,
it matters.
right.
uh, Also having to sometimes be their therapist
Mm-hmm.
and be on the phone with them and reinforce why they're doing what they're doing, stay
Right,
focused, and
right.
those kind of things come up too, because it's all a part of
Mhm.
again, filling that plug for them.
Right.
Takes
Well,
a
I
lot.
love the way the name came because it's like a miracle. I mean, to some people, uh, you're right. I mean, as soon as they get an audit, they're just like ready to pull their hair out. It's like,
Just
but
getting the letter is
the
is just
letter just,
can
yeah.
be crippling for people. Uh, People really do fear the government, which is uh, it's kind of funny because I try. That's one of the first things that I tell them. It's like, it's not as bad as you think. The government actually wants us to stay in business, so it is
Mm-hmm.
their desire to keep us
Mm-hmm.
open. So they do understand that a lot of people do just what I was saying earlier, which is they'll start a business and not necessarily understand the financial background of what it takes to run that business.
Right.
People are thinking, well, what I have in the bank is what I have. It's like, well, that's not necessarily the case. And then a business is beyond just your cash flow, right? There are lots of other pieces to the pie that
Mm-hmm.
create that circle of success. So
Mm-hmm.
it is uh, again, my goal is always to educate. And then some clients that say, well, I don't want to learn all that stuff. And it's like, okay, well then just let me just take care of it. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
But you
And
know what? I think some of it is just fear that they can't. I think that's where the letter comes, and the whatever they're telling you got to pay this or that. The fear comes instead of having that faith, and have somebody there that can kind of help guide you, or come into the realization like myself. It's like they're not my enemy. you know,
you're not the
pay
enemy.
your
Right.
bills. You stay on top of your business. You don't have to. The Bible talks about those that are in authority. Uh, you don't have to be. They're not a terror to good works. If you're
That's
doing the right
correct.
thing, if you're doing your
That's right.
business right,
Yeah.
they're not a terrorist to you. They're not coming to get you. You do
And
what
if you
you.
make a mistake,
Hmm.
they are not gonna shut you down.
Right.
Mistakes are made. They expect that.
Right.
Interestingly enough, I was just on the phone with the state just recently about, about a client's issue.
Hmm.
And I was asking and inquiring with them about what happened to the good old days when they had classes. You were a small business owner, you could go to the IRS, you could go to the state, and they would give you classes and talk to you about what these essential things were to run a business.
Hmm.
And, sure enough, the lady said, we still have that data. We still have
Wow.
seminars and
Okay.
webinars. And I said, you guys really need to get that information out there
Hmm.
to small businesses and let them know. And I said, again, there's something I can be a vessel with to
Hmm.
assist with that, and to, create a link and maybe spread that out there amongst my social media, etc. Just again, to help people really understand what get out there and learn what you need to know about running your business. And if you don't want to know those things and you just want to concentrate on selling your product or selling your service, that's fine too, but just hire a good team around
Right.
you of
Somebody that
people who
knows.
can hold you up and do those things that you right. A good
Right.
legal person, a good financial person, you know what I mean? People who are making sure that your paperwork is in order and being taken care of. A good
Right.
assistant to keep you
Mhm.
informed. All of those basic things. Invest in that
Mhm.
and you'll be just fine. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that kind of goes back to the spiritual. Faith comes by hearing.
Yes,
You can have
ma'am.
faith in what you're doing once you understand. But some people run away from understanding. We preach, in church, we preach sermon after sermon, scripture after scripture. People do what they want to do, and then, that didn't
Yeah.
work, but it does work, but you just have to work it.
Well, Mom, one of the things that I've learned in being a business owner is, us A-type personalities are a bit stubborn.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
we're a bit of control freaks.
Okay.
So, it's hard for us to let go and let God. It's really
Mhm.
hard sometimes
Mhm.
to understand that He's in control. It took
Mhm.
me a long time, as you well know. It took me a long time to really fully uh, understand that he has been the one to outline my path and
Yeah.
the one to he's the one that's directing my steps. And so now that I fully understand that, my life is so much more at peace. But it
Mhm.
is hard for business owners who
Mhm.
are in control. We are naturally in control,
Right.
A-type personalities. And
But
so
as that
it is
part there,
difficult
but
to
you
let.
got, yeah, but you're a business owner and you understand numbers. You understand the law.
Yeah,
You understand
yeah,
what has to be done. So, but some people just want, their products good, and,
yeah,
too many people in Hollywood, different ones, got to spend time in prison because they are just not going to pay their taxes. They're
true.
going to lose different things, and you don't have to lose these kind of things.
That's true.
You got to get somebody. If that's not your area, just be honest with yourself. If that's not your area, find somebody, because you can't hide. You can run, but
Yeah,
you can't hide. And it's like they're hiring new people now that just really, so you just want to try to keep your
I
business
agree.
as clean as
I agree. And one of the things I tell my new clients is, you know, uh, if I try and flush my toilet and it doesn't work,
possible.
I'm going to grab the plunger that's sitting next to it and I'm going to try and plunge and see if that works.
Hmm.
But if that doesn't work,
Hmm. Right,
I am not going to Home Depot and
right,
taking a do it yourself class to
right.
learn how to fix my toilet. I'm going to call a plumber. Now,
Hmm.
I may not like what I'm having to pay,
Hmm.
but I'm going to get it done and done by a professional and done therefore correctly,
Hmm.
and something that might potentially be warranted as well.
Hmm.
So I have to accept the fact that I
Yeah,
have my limitations and I
there you
don't know
go.
how to
There
do
you
plumbing.
go.
And
Right.
so therefore I have to hire a professional to do it. We
Hmm.
all don't know everything. You can
No,
have
we
the greatest product, you can have the greatest service,
don't. Hmm.
but if you if you don't if you
Handle
don't
your business.
understand beyond that, then
Hmm.
you need a team of people around you. And
Hmm.
it's a no-brainer. I do encourage people to build their team. It
Hmm.
can be a large team or a small team, but you have to have people that you can bounce things off of,
Hmm.
someone that you can trust, even if it's just a good friend to tell you the truth
Hmm.
about things. And a lot of times, us A-type personalities, we have to wait till we get that letter. We have to wait till we get that phone call or that knock at the door
Okay.
before we wake up.
Wow.
But then they come running.
Mhm.
And so that's a whole nother side of things. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
now fix it, fix it, fix it. And
Yeah.
so you want to also try and accommodate them too. And in that comes the learning. In that comes the building of trust and an
Mhm.
understanding, uh,
Mhm.
uh, in my opinion, one of the reasons why my business has been successful is because in doing taxes and in managing people's monthly expenses, uh, I learned that a lot of accountants don't explain things. They'll do taxes, they'll do the work, but they're not going to sit down and talk with you and help you understand what you're looking at, help you
Mhm.
understand the financials. And so this was where I wanted to create an edge in my business, and to be able to take that further step to educate and to be able to help people reflect and analyze and look at what they're doing, understand their ebbs and flows and their
Mhm.
ups and downs and their seasons, and just to know their businesses. Surprisingly, people know their businesses very well, but to be able to look at that on paper and to see that
Mhm.
down is it's different
Mhm.
than just kind of knowing in your head what your system, what your business is like.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's been a joyous ride to be able to kind of help people understand what they're
Well,
doing.
I just love what the scripture talks about. We have many, the body has many parts. The ear can't
Right,
say to the eye, I don't need you. The ears can't say to the,
right.
to the head, So
Yep,
we're all a part, but, and it also tells us how we should celebrate each other and encourage each
I
other,
agree.
because
I
we are
agree.
all a body, and when one hurts, the other hurts,
That's so true.
when that thumb or that big toe, ooh,
Oh,
that big
so
toe.
true.
It's like,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
but it's us thanking God that He can be in the
Right.
center of whatever we do. So when we do get
I
that
agree.
letter, we pray and we's like, Lord, who?
Yes.
Because I don't know how to do this. Lord, lead me, and that's what happened with me with you. Lord, I need some help,
Right.
and then the Lord just brought
Does
us
his work.
together,
Yes.
and so together, we're fight to win in this life, and so just
Yes.
help each other. But I just love that you love what you do, and you're making
All
a
the
difference.
different.
Even that, look at that when you ask that uh, IRS person about that software that they used to use, or that
Yeah.
program they used to use, and that's just like another, your little, your giving just kind of jumps up. It's like, but how
It
add
does.
that to my plate? I got so much, and that's what happens when God gives you gifts. You just want to help people.
It's true.
You just want to.
It's
This
true.
is another avenue where it's a possibility if people had
Yes.
that program where they could do it. But then there's a good possibility, just like I said, every Sunday, Sunday in, Sunday out. You're telling people what to do, and people want to do
Yes.
what they want to do, and some listen, some don't.
Some don't. That's true. Well, and they start to learn as time goes on
Right, right, right.
that they have to start to trust what
Yeah.
the Lord is saying to them.
Mhm.
You gotta listen to Him. It is the hardest thing, I think, in this world that we live in, right?
Mhm.
To give God the glory,
Right, right,
to give God the credit,
right.
but He
Mhm.
deserves all the credit.
Right.
Unfortunately, though, we live in a society where we are taught that we are the most important. We are taught that
Right.
that we put ourselves first, and
Mhm.
instead of putting other people first. And
Mhm.
I found the success in my business has everything to do with helping people. The
Right.
more I want to help people, the more successful I
Mhm.
am.
Yeah.
But that was what Jesus wanted. That
Right.
was what, uh, the the people in my life, or most of the people in my
Mhm.
life, that's the
Mhm.
life they live.
Yeah.
Helping others, making a positive impact on people's lives. And
Mhm.
um, I have found more peace in that,
Yeah.
and in trusting Him than in trying to lean to my own understanding.
Sure, sure.
Don't do that. So you gotta trust Him.
And
You got
that's all it is. That's for every part of that body, needs that encouragement over here to know, hey, I know so much, but God is the one that brought me here, and that's what we
yeah,
say. We trust Him, and
yeah,
there's certain things we learn, and thank God that we learn those things. But
that's
then
true.
we want His super on our natural. We want His
Yeah.
blessing on what we
And it's
do.
a walk, we don't know everything.
Right.
So we have to learn that too. That's another thing that, oh boy, did I have to learn that. You don't know everything. And actually
Mhm.
this walk and this life is all about a learning experience that we are
Mhm.
going through. And so
Mhm.
uh, the older I get, the more I realize that I don't know a thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
But the openness to learn also has to be there, right? You
Mhm.
have to kind of at some point say, oh, I'm not in control. And I
Mhm.
think that's another thing. Once I was able to say, okay, Lord, I'm not in control, you're in control, you
Mhm.
take this over. I clearly can't do this right.
And
I
only take as much as we let
Right.
him. He wants to be. We basically laid out the plan, but it's kind of up to us to, uh, do it, because if he was in control, a lot of things would be different.
I
But
agree.
yeah, but there's a certain amount of control that he gives us the word, and it's up to us to kind of walk it out. So um, I'm just trusting him to continually bless you. And now we talked about your great grandmother that you were able to meet, your grandmother, your mom, you, and now we got CJ. We got a little man that you have
The joy of
raised.
my life.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
he has been
Amen.
an incredible blessing to have this miracle baby, as we call him. He is my
Mhm,
miracle baby,
mhm,
and he is growing fast and
mhm,
learning fast.
mhm,
But I've been so blessed to raise him in this area,
mhm,
to have brought him into the church at
mhm,
such a young age. He is a soldier for God, and
mhm,
a fight in this spiritual war. I
mhm,
love that about him. He is happy and balanced, uh, and having a great teenage life.
mhm.
It's been a lot of
think
fun.
I think Pastor told me not too long ago. I think he brought a friend to church or something like that.
Yeah, he does that.
And so that you
And the
want to get
Bible
on
study.
Pastor's good side.
Yeah,
We
you
didn't
know.
know changing lives.
And
That
he
was
he also helped to start a Christian club at his high school.
wow.
He's on a
High
mission for
school.
God.
School?
I
Did you say high
know.
school?
I know.
Oh
You
my
remember him when he was just knee
God.
high. Exactly. Well, they grow so fast,
Mhm.
and we had CJ when we were in our 40s, so it's been this incredible walk to
Mhm.
see him as an older parent,
Okay. Okay.
to
Think
just see
about it.
him grow. Boy, it's been something else. And
Mhm.
but he also is an old soul. I think that's
Mhm.
a big part of it too.
Yeah.
He's a leader in his groups and his
Mhm.
friends, and they look up to him. And I'm proud of that, because that's telling
Mhm.
us that we're instilling in him the right things,
Mhm. Exactly.
exposing him to the right things, and the
Amen.
village is doing its work. Yeah, yeah. So
Right. And I love how you guys are supporting him, and we.
oh, his dad and I are so proud of him,
Mhm.
incredibly proud of him.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've got lots to go. So
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this has
I
been all
know.
good. Like, boy, I
But
can't
we're
wait till
doing,
what happens
yeah,
coming
we're
forward.
giving God
Everything
praise
that mountain.
for it, and we're thanking Him every day. And I just look at that because I would have loved. I met one of my grandmothers,
Yes.
um, but I never met my mom's mom, and I never met, of course,
Oh,
any of the
wow.
grandparents above
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and so
Yes.
no grandfathers whatsoever. So I
Oh,
didn't get.
wow.
So it's just
I
different.
I I understand. I had the pleasure of having my grandfather, my mom's side. He was a big part of my life when I was little,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
took me to church every Sunday. That was his thing. Going
Wow.
to church, and but I love him for it. I sang in the
Mhm,
choir when I was younger, and played
mhm,
piano, and did all these great things. And he was a big influence on that. My
mhm,
great grandmother, very
mhm,
involved in the church.
mhm,
When my grandmother passed away last year,
mhm, mhm,
the church that she went to, I mean, it's just a flood of people who
mhm,
absolutely loved all that she did for the church. And so,
mhm.
my life has been embedded in it. And when I was little, that was what we did. We were in
Yeah,
church every day.
yeah, yeah. That's what we're doing. That's what we want to do for this generation, and you're doing it. Thank God you got that one son, and he loves God, and whoo, you could give God praise. Have about four or
I
five
do.
that just
Yes.
some want to come, some don't. But you're blessed in that area. But my
Yes.
gosh, we could go on and on because God has brought you to be a blessing to us at Calvary Christian Center as our controller, and helping us to go to the next level in our
It has been
ministry.
more than my
Amen.
honor, Mom, to work with you. And you're
Amen.
the one that came to me and asked me, if I would work with you guys. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I never thought that I would go back to a job. So I was, I remember being a little apprehensive about that.
Right.
But I wanted to help my church family. I wanted to
Amen.
help and be a part of
Amen.
what
But
we
that
were
didn't
doing.
stop you from still being able to have your business and doing
Right,
things all
exactly.
over. And
So
because
it
you,
was the best of both worlds for me, and
yeah.
it still is. I mean,
Mhm.
I know sometimes you look at me and you go, "You're working too hard," and it's like, no, I'm not.
Mhm.
I'm doing God's work.
And it's
I'm
things you
doing
love to
exactly.
do. You love to make a
Yep.
difference, and you
Yes.
definitely are. And
So I'm
ministry.
grateful to you for giving me the opportunity to have the
Mhm.
exposure
Mhm.
to all that else is going on. I think more than anything, it just cemented for me who
Mhm.
you and Dad are
Mhm.
in terms of your commitment and
Mhm.
your all that you guys are doing for the church. I
Mhm.
had no idea of
Mhm.
just how
Mhm.
much you love these people
Yeah.
and how much you guys
Mhm.
are just so dedicated to the
Mhm.
church and to all of the church family and beyond, of course, all the
Mhm.
missions and
Mhm.
everything that we're involved in. I think when I stepped into
Mhm.
this role,
Mhm.
I had no idea of all that
Mhm.
you have
Mhm.
done
Mhm.
to touch others.
Mhm.
But it all started to make sense to me. Now I really understand when I'm sitting in the conferences and I just
Mhm.
see
Mhm.
how everyone just loves so much on you guys. And it's
Mm.
because you guys are doing the real work.
Yeah.
And I can see that now that I'm on the other side of
Mhm.
things, not no
Mhm.
longer just a member, but also
Man.
as a staff member.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's just cemented my commitment even more to
Mhm.
the church, to the mission, to the cause, and to the family. Um,
Right.
I love you guys so much, and I'm
Amen. And
just
you
so
show it.
grateful.
You show it because I know it's not always easy for us, for none of us. Ministry is, we're
It's
snatching
work,
people out of darkness into the light and doing the different
man.
programs and the different services.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Yes.
it's worth it to see the lives that are changed and are helped. And
I agree with you on that.
Mhm.
When we get to see the other side
Yeah.
and the impact that we're
Mhm.
making, it
Mhm.
uh, it sometimes makes me almost want to work around the clock. I see
Right.
why Dad worked so hard. It's like
Right.
I get it now because we're doing
Mhm.
so much great work and we're
Mhm.
impacting so many great lives and oh
Mhm.
my gosh, it's such a
Amen.
beautiful
Mhm.
blessing to have that. And so I'm just thrilled to be a part of this, honestly,
Amen.
part of everything that you have helped expose me to. I had no
Amen.
idea. So I'm grateful.
Have you forgive me yet? No, no.
No, I haven't forgiven you yet.
Amen. Well, God is good. God is so good. So let's see. We probably need to start winding down.
Okay.
So what would you say was your biggest challenge coming up or starting your business? Or,
Honestly, if I had to look back, I'd say the biggest challenge for me was believing in myself.
Mhm.
I think for a lot of people, the hardest part of starting a business is
Mhm.
taking that faith step,
Mhm.
right? Stepping out on faith and put,
Mhm.
throwing caution to the wind and saying, I can do it.
Mhm.
Uh, I think if more than anything, trusting myself to 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 do it and to
Mhm.
get out there and make the business a success was one of the biggest challenges. I held on to my regular full-time job
Mhm.
for 8 years before
Okay.
I actually let go.
Mhm.
Uh, and even then, I had to have the encouragement of my family, of my colleagues to say, hey, you can do it. Get
Mhm.
out there and go for it. And that really was what pushed me. Not everybody has that. Not, a lot of times people start businesses and they have a great idea and it's like it's in their brain. And so a lot of times the devil will throw
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
out there to make you doubt yourself and make you doubt what you can do. Uh,
Mhm.
so I think for me, the biggest challenge was really trusting in
Mhm.
my ability, uh,
Mhm.
trusting that I knew my stuff and that I could get out there and I could put that out there and make an impact. And
Wow. You would never know it. I mean, because that's
Thank
when
you, Mom.
look what the Lord has done. Yeah, but that all of us have those inner struggles. We
Yeah.
have, those fears or those, hesitations. But that,
Well, the devil likes to do his best to,
right, yeah,
to exaggerate that in your
right,
head, and
right,
so you can
right,
easily talk yourself out of things. A lot of businesses don't get started
right.
because people will talk themselves out of it, and the fear factor, right? You've got fear. If you're used to a steady check, it's
Yeah,
really hard to turn from a steady
yeah,
check to just everything
sure,
based on your effort.
right.
That's a big difference.
Hmm.
But in that, I tell people also builds your character, also
Right.
builds your stamina and your strength, right? I think once I was hit with a couple of obstacles and walls
Hmm.
that made me look, well, do you want to go back into the world and work, or do you want to
Hmm.
continue? What are you going to do? That's when you start to really look and say, okay, do I really believe in what I'm trying to accomplish?
Wow.
And so I think for everyone, we are always going to hit that wall because the devil's always going to work against you to your
Hmm.
success. So you will always be hit with that, but you have to believe, you have to
Yeah,
trust
yeah, you
that
got.
that you are doing the right thing. If you are passionate enough about what you do,
That's
the
good.
success will follow. You don't have to worry about that. You've got to believe it, though.
Gotta believe it. Gotta
Um,
believe it.
yes,
So,
ma'am.
in closing, Miss Pamela, what big tip? What was the biggest tip you would like to pass on to our audience? You gave a lot of them already, but what would be
Wow.
a great tip?
The biggest tip I would give anyone out there is to trust God, um, trust your path, uh, trust your walk, and believe in yourself. Um, I think for anyone and anything that's going on, uh, the noise that we hear can be overwhelming and deafening almost to you. You have to start trusting your inner self. You have to stay focused on your goals, but you really do have to believe in what you're doing and trust your path. I think that for me, that is the best tip I can give anyone. Really
Yeah.
trust yourself, trust God,
Mhm.
walk your path, believe in what you're doing.
Mhm.
If you're out there if you're out there to make a positive impact on people's lives, you will do it. You will do it. Just
Yeah.
believe that, and don't let the obstacles mess with you. That's when you call the devil a liar and laugh in his face and keep moving.
Yeah.
It's like you'll be surprised at how
Mhm.
God can turn things around with a phone call, with
Mhm.
a business opportunity that'll come your way, with your ability to meet someone that can totally impact and change your life. You really don't know what's out there. You just have to really trust that
Right.
it's out there, and
Right.
that will
Right.
do it.
And you gave that key. We trust our path, but we let God direct our path. His
Yep.
word is the lamp unto our feet and a light
Hallelujah.
to our pathway. And so you've done that, and I've watched God do it in your life. And I just thank God for his faithfulness, for bringing you our way, and for you continually walking that path, keeping your head
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
And wow.
Well,
As
thank you for being such an incredible spiritual mom, and you and Dad have just been an incredible impact on our lives. As a family and individually. Uh, I'm so grateful to you, Mom, for all that you've done for me. And you've taught me so much. Dad has taught me so much. And our lives are at peace. Our lives are fulfilled
Amen.
because of the teachings that we've learned at Calvary. So we're grateful for that.
Amen.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And you that are watching, I know you were so blessed by our Pam today. And we just asked you to continually be a part of Conversations with Dr. Brenda. Again, we thank Pamela for being a part of our time today. And we look forward to seeing you again on Conversations with Dr. Brenda Goudeaux. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Dr. Brenda's YouTube channel to get notifications and to watch past conversations.